Everybody on the internet tells you the first thing to do when you want to file a hospital bill is ask for an itemized bill. They're wrong. I've been doing this for 30 years. Do not do that first. That's one of the biggest mistakes you can make. The second you ask for the wrong thing, you can tip the hospital off before you've got the proof you need. Get the medical records first, and I'm going to show you exactly why that matters. Most people think getting an itemized bill gives them the leverage they need. Sometimes it does just the opposite. Most of the time it does the opposite, because once they know you're digging, they know you're looking, they know a dispute may be coming. And if you don't already have the medical records in your hand, you may have just shown your cards too early. That is not how you want to start this process. What you want to do first is request your medical records. Just the medical records. Do not request the medical records and the itemized bill at the same time. Get the records first. And don't request them too early. I usually tell people to wait about a week or so after they leave the hospital. I don't care if it's inpatient or outpatient. The reason for that is because you want the full picture. You want the doctor's notes, the lab results, the imaging reports, the discharge notes, all of it. You want all the information. If you request it too early, you may get an incomplete set of records, and that can cost you leverage. Here's why this matters so much. In healthcare, if it's not documented, it's not done. I'm going to say that again. If it's not documented, it is not done. If it's not documented, it's not payable. And that matters a whole lot when you're trying to figure out whether a hospital should have billed you what they billed you, or whether an insurance company should have paid what they paid. I was helping a client file a claim for a procedure the other day that he should have never had in the first place. After I had the medical records in my hand, the hospital sent over updated claim information. All of a sudden, there's this diagnosis on the claim that was nowhere in the medical records. It wasn't on the initial claim. Now, y'all, that's a problem. It's a huge problem. Because if the diagnosis isn't documented in the records, then where did it come from? And if it wasn't documented, there was no real reason for the procedure. That's exactly why you get the medical records first. You want to lock in the documentation before you start tipping them off that you're looking at it. Here's another example. This one had a diagnosis for water on the knee. It sounds pretty straightforward, but when I looked at the claim, they had billed over $2,300 in lab work. Here's the part most people never know to check. Just because something was billed does not mean the diagnosis actually supports it. If the diagnosis doesn't support the service, that claim may not have been payable in the first place. So I dug deeper. When I matched the diagnosis back to what was billed, almost none of those charges were actually justified by the diagnosis. They weren't medically necessary. Long story short, out of $2,300 in charges, only about $40 of it made sense based on actually what was documented. And if Medicare had paid that same thing, that same claim, they would have only paid $7.77. That ought to tell you something. This is the part people miss all the time. Just because your insurance company says something is covered does not mean it's payable. Just because a hospital bills it does not mean it was medically necessary. And if it wasn't medically necessary, then that does not automatically become your responsibility to pay just because it showed up in the mail on a piece of paper. So if you're looking at a hospital bill, a claim, an EOB, and something doesn't feel right, and that happens most of the time, get the medical records first, review what was actually documented, then request the itemized bill and compare it to the records, but don't request the itemized bill until you have those medical records in your hand. If you start with the wrong request, you may be tipping them off before you've locked in your proof. If you need help requesting your records or your itemized bill the right way, I've linked templates below just to make it really easy. Just copy, paste, fill in your information and send them off. And if you've got a claim or a bill that just doesn't look right, most of them don't, this is exactly the kind of mess I deal with all the time and have for 30 years. You've got to get control of your healthcare costs, because if you don't get it, it ain't going to get got. I'll see you in the next one.